Hey folks, Alan here. You may have been expecting our finale discussion of Vanity Fair this week, but unfortunately we ran into some technical difficulties with the original recording, and we'll be releasing a new version of that for you all next Sunday. We apologize if you're looking forward to it, but rest assured it's still going to be a fun discussion. We wanted to give you something to listen to on the main feed this week, so what you're about to hear was originally released on our Patreon, which you can check out at patreon.com/ChatzPod. Back in September of last year, we released an episode of our hangout show, ChatzNightz, where we discuss all sorts of random topics and just kind of let the conversation flow naturally. This one in particular was very fun to revisit, and we thought it would be fun to show non-patrons what they're missing out on and reflect on some recent topics. There are 2 fun drop-in clips in this episode, so keep an eye out for those. One is an old audio message I sent into the Major Spoilers podcast when I was a wee child in high school, talking about Batman Year 1. So anything I say in that one, keep in mind, I was a baby. The other clip in here is a short one from best friend of the podcast, Jim, who got to ask the My Brother, and Me hosts a question at their Boston live show. Fun fact about that one, Jim does mention in that he is a physics student, and since then he has gotten his PhD, and we will now only be referring to him as Dr. Jim, and that is law. That's the way it's going to be. Apologies once again for no Vanity Chats this week. That'll be back next week. And if you like what you hear in this episode, if you're not already supporting us, please consider checking out patreon.com/ChatzPod. That's ChatzPod, where you can get episodes like this and much, much more for just $3 a month and help support the show. Take care. Whoa, they're doing carpool karaoke in South Korea.
Like it's safe to be in a car, you're saying?
No, like they just have James Corden. They have like South Korean James Corden.
Oh, they're just doing the format.
Yeah.
It's pretty
kind of cool.
It's a pretty smart little idea. You just need one of those when you're a late night host, you know?
Right. You just need one good idea, you mean?
Like one segment, one like thing that you can do with a bunch of, like, I think that's the strength of his show, is that he has things he does with celebrities that aren't like, I don't know, they're cute, but they're not as annoying as what Fallon does, it feels like.
The games that they do on the show are always annoying. Where it's like, we're gonna throw tomatoes at a wall and you're gonna be behind glass and we're gonna see if you get startled. And I'm like,
okay, yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, they did that with BTS, and I was like, why did I watch this? Honestly, from my experience, there are no good English interviews of K-pop stars. No, like, actually meaningful, interesting ones. I just haven't found them yet.
Well,
I'll keep looking.
Is that a language barrier thing, or is that just because the interviewers ask stupid questions about K-pop?
Both. Like, why were ITZY on Good Morning America? What are you doing? 2 of them speak English, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, what's Hoda Kotb gonna ask Leah from ITZY? So what's South Korea like right now? This is like back in January.
Yeah.
So K-pop's dumb. K-pop is one of those it's one of my like personal hobbies, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Alan, I think you mean hobbies. No, idiot. Like hobbies that I don't like to talk about with most people.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like a private hobby, I guess.
Yeah, personal hobby, private hobby.
But yeah, I understand what you mean.
The best K-pop interaction I've ever had in real life, besides my coworker from 2 jobs ago who was a big fan of like Blackpink and everyone and BTS, was when I was like in the drive-thru of a Dunkin' Donuts and I had a T-shirt on that had like some Japanese on it. It was like a PlayStation shirt but written in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl was like, "Is that?" I think she was like, "Is that Korean? Like BTS?" And I was like, No, and she's like, oh my God, I love, and then I was like, no, I do love BTS though. Like I do, hold on.
Yeah.
And we like bonded over that.
Yeah.
But it started from her reading Japanese on my shirt. And I was like, well,
Korean. That's funny.
Yeah. She's like, I want to learn Korean. I'm like, this still isn't Korean. I'm glad. I'm happy for you, but they're really different.
When I was working at the last school I was at, and my students learned Korean, I was like really pleased by how consistent it is. You know, like you
Yes.
can actually just learn that alphabet, and it just always works the same.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Well, the written alphabet, which I'm right now forgetting what the name of the alphabet
Hangul.
is. Hangul, thank you. Was like created later than a lot of other written languages that we're used to. So it was created to be pretty easily learnable. I'm sure many were, but Hangul in particular is like, yeah, people can just learn this.
You ever heard of Tokipona?
No, what's that?
So I
know the horse from Zelda.
No, no. So I've been I've been sort of falling down many YouTube rabbit holes simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is there's this YouTube channel called Conlang Critic, where he basically does videos where he does critiques of constructed languages. And I think I got to his channel because he has a video about how Hangman is a really weird game that doesn't work like any other game. It's a fascinating video that everybody should watch. But I was reminded of this language that I want to learn how to speak called Tokipona. And it basically means like good language or the language of good. And the idea is it's a language that only has like 100 something words or something like that.
Oh.
And then you just kind of like figure it out. So let me see.
Sorry, I'm reading about it. Philosophical, artistic, constructed language known for its small vocabulary, created by Canadian linguist and translator Sonia Lang for the purpose of simplifying thoughts and communication. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm. So like, oh, go ahead.
No, the frustrating thing about languages, right, is like, okay, I'm really good at Tokipona. I can speak to 3 people.
Yeah, well, I also was taken and at one point wanted to learn Esperanto because there's like a whole global community of people who speak Esperanto, and you can like go like stay with people in random parts of the world and speak Esperanto with them, which is like really fucking cool.
Right. So Esperanto would be great if Earth advanced to an equitable point where we could have a common language, but the way things are going, it's probably just going to end up being English.
Right.
Or, well, yeah, probably. Imperialism is the way it is. But yeah, Esperanto is really cool. Sorry, I distracted from your point like twice.
Oh, we're just vibing. There's no point. It's ChatzNightz, baby.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, I don't know. I really like constructed languages. I kind of want to learn how to. I found a book that like teaches you how to do it, and I kind of want to make one.
I used to write my diary entries in the Bionicle Matanui language.
You've told me that before, and it's still amazing to me every time.
Every time I tell someone, they're like, "That's fake," and I'm like, "No.
That's
I have that. I have that journal. I could prove that to you."
How long did it take you to do that? Like, had you learned how to make the letters quickly?
No, because I had like the key next to me.
Those letters are not easy. They're
all circles.
Yeah.
With like symbol, like you draw inside of the circle.
Yeah.
You just draw a bunch of circles and put stuff in the middle.
I had never thought. I just recently started. I haven't finished the video, but I started watching Billiam's video about Bionicles the other day.
Oh yeah.
And I had never thought or put together the fact that Bionicle, the words are appropriating, like Maori or something like that.
Yep.
That sucks.
I mean, how would you know? You didn't know what Maori was for a long time.
I just, maybe if I had revisited it and been like, wait a minute, what if these are from a real language? But it just had never crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the history of how Bionicle came to exist is interesting. That's another video I recommend people check out, or just check out Billiam in general if you want like pretty well produced nostalgia critic reviews. Mm-hmm. Not like the YouTuber nostalgia critic, but more just like a critic who talks about nostalgic things.
Yeah.
I just watched his newest one about Habbo Hotel, which was pretty riveting. It's just like an online chat room game that was plagued by a broken economy, awful parts of the community, and like a self-sabotaging community in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
pretty fascinating. And it's also in Flash and still exists today. So Flash is going to be gone like in the next year or two. It will no longer be supported by web browsers. So
is that stuff just going to be lost? Like, how does that work?
So that's why Project Flashpoint came into existence, was they realized that was coming. And they're like, well, we have to like preserve as many Flash games as we can.
Wow.
But there's Flash art, there's Flash videos, movies, animation of all sorts. The unaired pilot of Venture Brothers is animated in Flash.
That's what freaks me out about like if there was some sort of weird World War III sort of thing that happened and wiped out the internet or whatever, and like a physical book, people can find later and they can figure out how to translate it and it exists. But like, what if all that's left are like CDs or USB drives, but nobody understands how to read them anymore, and all this stuff is just gone.
That was what that one bad TV show was supposed to be about. Revolution.
Oh, really?
It was like what happens when when internet and like electricity stops working. And we don't have anything that's electrically powered anymore. So no computers, no internet. How does the world adjust to that?
Yeah. One
of those classic like cool premises, but the show is like not very cool.
Yeah.
Or not very interesting. Like a central core mystery that just doesn't go anywhere. Also briefly because I'm thinking about like comics and shows now. When you mentioned Esperanto earlier, they speak Esperanto in Saga.
Oh,
the
right.
Everyone who speaks another, like, that's the common in Saga.
That's cool.
I think Brian K. Vaughan is like very interested in languages because there's a lot of people speaking different languages in his works.
Yeah.
I want to get back into Saga at some point.
Me too. There's Ringer has a podcast, their binge mode podcast, and they're reading Saga right now.
Really?
Yeah, which is kind of enough to make me want to get back to it.
Every couple of years, I'll get like the last 5 or 6 volumes that came out and like devour them, and then do it a couple years later.
Yeah.
And do it again.
Yeah.
That's the one like indie comic. Because like when I was looking at I tried so many different comics back in the day when I was reading a lot of digital stuff when I first got my iPad, like in college.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was looking at that Harvard bookstore sale I was telling you about, there was like a whole graphic novel section that was like mostly indie comics, and I was like, I've read at least a couple volumes of all of these. I just have like so many devoured in my brain that I don't think about on a daily basis whatsoever. Like East of West. Who the fuck is reading East of West now? Manhattan Projects. I got 6 to read Manhattan Projects on Garnet Wager back in the day, but
or like Atomic Robo or
the Atomic Robo guy I think he did like, speaking of Flash, he was like doing Flash things back in the day before he made Atomic Robo.
Oh.
I don't know if it's still going on or what's the deal with that though. You know what I remember about Atomic Robo? I bet you remember the same thing. Was Steven from Major Spoilers was a big fan of it.
Yes, I do remember that.
The podcast that led to one of the podcasts that was kind of formative for the Chats brand.
Yeah, I think so, in ways that maybe we didn't think about at the time, but that's definitely true. Yeah.
We've because we've talked about like internet archive stuff before, but like there's still an episode of Major Spoilers podcast with High School Alan's voice on it.
Right.
In a voice memo.
Right. Oh man, do you remember what episode it is? Because I'd love to drop a clip of that in right now.
It's from their discussion of Batman Year One. I might even have the clip for you. I think I pulled the clip the last time I found it.
Pulled the clip with them responding to you?
Yeah, I think so. If I don't, I can find you the episode.
Okay.
But it was them. It was when they were talking about Batman Year One.
Hey, Stephen, Matthew, and Rodrigo. This is Alan calling in to give my thoughts on Frank Miller's Batman Year One. This is my first Batman comic, and my only knowledge of the Batman story, like, so far, comes from Christopher Nolan's films and that awesome animated series from the 90s. Basically, the idea of splitting the story between Commissioner Gordon and Bruce Wayne is pretty brilliant, fascinating, and I thought it was super well written because it's very they live very different lives, and the way that they interact with each other and eventually meet is all the more satisfying because of their separate stories. With Commissioner Gordon and his wife and his problems with the corrupt police, and Bruce Wayne's trying to accept his family's death, his parents' death, and just trying to make a name for himself and cleaning up the city. I was expecting this to lead to some confusion going back and forth, but the text boxes alleviated that problem with Gordon being in sort of a notepad text because he's a cop, and Wayne sort of looking like Bruce Wayne looking like his words are being scribbled in letters. Mazzucchelli's art is amazing, and it makes the whole corrupt world of Gotham City just pop out of the pages, and it was really well paced, intelligent, awesome, and every panel was beautiful and used well, and it didn't seem like there was anything wasted in the production of the story. I was really glad to pick this one up. I wasn't sure if it was worth the money or anything. And I started looking through it, and it's really good. I would recommend it to anyone. It's a good jumping on point for people who are interested in Batman or just really interesting sort of detective crime stories. I love the podcast and everything you do. Bye.
Hello, we are back.
Yes, we are, and I want to thank everybody for their comments this week. So many good comments. Mm-hmm. Some good year one comments. A great Scott Pilgrim review.
Yeah.
And then some of the other comments as well. And we appreciate each and every one of you that have have sent stuff in or have contributed to the website by going over to the forums. In addition to this Scott Pilgrim review that we had, you might want to go over to the forums. Number one spoilerite, Julian, wrote what I thought was a great review of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the movie that opens this weekend, that he was able to see in San Diego.
I cherish that, and I cherish the time that you and Jim went to see Mabim Bam, and Jim.
And we're on an episode, or he's on an episode of Mabim Bam.
Yeah. I've sullied myself for you, Tim.
Hello, new person. I'm gonna wait. Hold on, before you. Person who had long hair on the balcony standing up. I've never done a balcony one before, so start making your way down.
Yeah, sure.
We're gonna give it a shot. Okay.
What's your name?
My name's James.
James.
Hi.
Hello, James.
Hi. So I am studying.
Somebody's stoked about James. Yes. Somebody's got James fever.
So I'm studying for a PhD in physics, and that is not typically the reaction I get.
Can I hit you with a question?
Yeah.
Is gravity real?
It's a theory, but it's pretty well defined, so.
All right. But it's not for sure. Whoa. Okay. Can I just say, James, that's way more hedging than I expected you to do. I thought we'd get one 3-letter
Sorry,
word.
100% for sure you guys are
All right, got it.
Hold on, wait, let me try something.
Yeah,
that's good.
Oh, yeah.
So what's up?
So I was wondering how to introduce the fact that I study physics without having people groan or say that they hated their high school class.
Might I suggest I'm getting my PhD in motion? Ooh, that's good. Ooh. Oh, just step back a little bit. Just step back one little bit. We're going to do both of you. Just step.
Okay,
yeah, perfect.
okay.
Right there.
Why do they have to step? James is not a bear.
No. Careful. No, they were in the spot. They were in the spotlight. I just really want to focus on James because James studies physics. He's not going to have a lot of opportunities for this level of attention. So I just want to make sure he gets his moment. James, next time somebody drops something or does something that physics is in, to be fair, that could be any time somebody moves or interacts with particles. I guess happens. You could just be like, the reason that happened was physics, and then give them like a little taste of something interesting, like a bonbon that and then they'll be like hooked. They'll be like, I wish you knew more about this, and you'll be like, good news.
Physics needs better PR because I was thinking that I can't think of a Schoolhouse Rock song about physics because it's like, anytime anything happens, when heat or energy is transferred between two things. Is that physics? Which one is it? See, I don't know because there wasn't a fucking Schoolhouse Rock song about it. Can you say you are getting a PhD in psychics, which is what I think the word physics is half the time that I see it written on a page?
It's super effective at the gym because it's good against fighting types.
That is...
James,
Thank you, James. You're pandering to me specifically, but I appreciate it.
Just say you're getting a PhD in Pokemon. People get deep into it.
Yeah. How was that,
Can we have a
James?
second alone?
Uh-oh.
Should I...
Everybody stop listening for a second. What's physics? Like, I know basically what it is, but like 95% of you that just laugh, you're only kind of sure what it is. Super quick.
Yeah, so if you want to look at the study of...
Fuck, dude. You're going to have to come more correct than that. Let's try one more again. James, what's physics?
Make a Schoolhouse Rock sexy for me.
No,
Okay.
I mean, just you don't have to sing, but like, what's physics?
So our whole universe was formed in a hot, dense place and nearly...
Stop
No,
it,
this is
stop.
good.
James is banned from the theater.
This is good and sexy.
Remove this man.
All right, thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
Thank you,
Try
James.
to fucking...
I mean, I'm in the background going, "Woo, Jim!" And they're like, "Who's this guy who's excited about Jim?" That was me. Hello.
That's funny.
That's wow, that theater is like, well, okay. That theater is really close to my work. How about I just say that and not dox myself? That's all I'm gonna say. It's
That's
like
funny.
really close.
Yeah.
I work near a college, and I've been seeing kids like move back in or something, which is confusing.
Well, yeah, I think some campuses are doing it where like some of the or only freshmen are there, or some people are there,
Maybe.
and then they're trying to have social distancing happen. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. Who knows?
That place reopening over the past several months, they have been ads, paywalls, slowly rolling out new information on what on-campus life will look like in the fall. Just tell me how you're doing it. Residence halls will see some of the most noticeable changes. What are they? Students will not be permitted to enter residence halls that are not their own. Oh, that sucks, dude.
Yeah.
College is not specified if students can visit other suites. It's unclear if spaces in buildings that students frequent will be open. The first floor of the building will cater to students who need to pick up mail as they move the mailroom out of the basement. You're required to wear a face covering everywhere on campus, including residence hall. This sucks, man.
That sucks. I can't imagine going to college. Going to college for your first year and that being the thing where you're like in the dorms, but you basically can't meet anybody. So
How am I supposed to leave my door open and play GameCube with random strangers?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Which is something I did all the time. Like,
I did that. Not my first year, but when I was an RA, I did that.
college is fake.
It is fake, and coronavirus is making it sad.
It's also making it more obvious that it's fake, though, that things are fake. I feel like I've said that before. I said that in early quarantine a lot, where it's like, we all realize that remote learning is actually good for some people. And every work meeting I get on where they're like, yep, we're still doing remote work until, or telework until January. And everyone's like, oh.
Everyone's happy
People
about
don't-
that, are you saying?
People do not seem happy. Well, most of the people I work with are parents with like children, so
I see.
it must be really miserable.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer it, but...
I count my blessings every day that I still have a job, and B, that, it's like not affected by this stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that wishes that they were able to get me set up with telework.
Mm-hmm.
For people who don't know, like the nature of my job is such that it is like it involves physical equipment, so I can't be doing it from home.
Yeah.
I like asked and pleaded multiple times early on, and they were like, "Oh, there's stuff you could do from home, but you can't work a shift, and we need to pay you for shifts because that's the nature of your contract." So, rip.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't. We're just turning to the Corona podcast, and that's fine.
I'd rather it not stay this for too long, to be honest.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll give me the big sad. I know. No, I was coming home today, and they did one of those classic. I did public transit, took the train,
Mm-hmm.
did one of those like shuttles replacing the trains. Like while we were on it, they were like, "By the way, shuttles replacing the next stop onto the rest of your ride."
No.
And buddy, like 100+ people got out of the train and stood in line for buses.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I didn't take any photos of it because I was like, this is just a bad situation. I'm sure people know this sucks. We're all wearing masks because you can't get on public transit in Boston without a mask.
Mm-hmm.
But still,
Jesus.
like 100 people packed like sardines. I'm like, where's the shuttle? Where's the shuttle? I got the heck out of Dodge. I got a car. My mom came and picked me up from
good.
that station. But like,
That's good.
oh, so every once in a while you just realize that you're like barreling towards an untenable situation with that, and you're like, oh, No one can social distance here. Perfect. Great. Okay.
Yep. Right.
But we can pivot to something.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to ask you if you read any good book. I know what books you've been reading lately.
Yeah, I think I've been talking about all of them.
Yeah.
I read Invisible Cities. Yeah.
I got a book from that Harvard bookstore sale.
Oh yeah, your Syrian history book, is that right?
Syria: A History of the Last 100 Years by John McHugo. Can't vouch for it yet because I haven't touched it. I've been reading. I started rereading The Prophet today. It's an enjoyable last read, honestly. Because I chat-summed it like many months ago, and I forgot about it. And I was talking to my dad like a couple days ago. He was like singing some old song. I think it's Fairuz, who's like the most famous Middle Eastern singer of all time, period. And she wrote a song. Either Khalil Gibran, the guy who wrote The Prophet, or she wrote it for him, or he wrote it for her, the song that my dad was singing. And I was like, wait, that's the guy who did The Prophet, right? And he's like, yeah, I really need to like read The Prophet in Arabic. And I was like, Dad, I have it in English. Like, we could like do a thing. I should find him a copy of it in Arabic, honestly, because I bet it's like a book of sort of poetry, or poetic-ish writing. I really don't know how to classify it genre-wise, because basically it has a narrative frame.
That makes it sound like Invisible Cities, yeah. Yeah,
it has a narrative framing, but each bit of it is poems, basically.
I see.
So this guy has been in a new country for 14 years, and he's said to be a prophet of God. They don't get too much into the religious stuff, at least in the intro. And he's like, well, the boat is here. I guess I'm going back to my homeland. And everyone in town is like, no, we're going to miss you so much. Like, you gave us so much wisdom. And he's like, well, I can spend one more day here. You guys can ask me anything. Basically, it's like a Reddit thread. It's an AMA. God. And then they're like, his name's Al Mustafa. And they're like, speak to us of love. And he's like, well, love is, really cool. And you sacrifice yourself to it, and it's cool, and that's great, and I love it. But it's obviously like poetic. Or like, speak to us of drinking, or speak to us of children, or gambling, or friendship, all that stuff.
Oh, so each thing is like him speaking on a different topic?
Yeah. Love, marriage, children, giving, eating, work, joy, houses, clothes, crime, laws, freedom.
Cool.
And then the other half.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's 100 pages, so it's a tight. I read half of it on my 30-minute break today, but it's a really enjoyable read. Yeah. I really like it when I don't agree with everything a book has to say, though. That's my new thing.
Interesting. So what would you say is something out of that book that you disagree with?
This should come as no surprise. This book was written back like a pretty long time ago. I think like the 50s, maybe. Here's a chapter about work.
How long is it?
It is 100 pages.
No, the chapter about work.
Oh, sorry. Let me tell you. It is 4 pages.
Could you read something from that? And then I kind of wanted to read you something from Invisible Cities, actually.
Sure.
Okay.
That works.
And then I want to try to guess what you don't like about this.
Yeah. So all of the chapters start with like somebody asking him something, right?
Yeah.
Then a plowman said, "Speak to us of work." And he answered, saying, "You work that you may keep pace with the earth and the soul of the earth. For to be idle is to become a stranger unto the seasons, and to step out of life's procession that marches in majesty and proud submission towards the infinite. When you work, you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of the hours turns to music. Which of you would be a reed, dumb and silent, when all else sings together in unison?" This is the part. Always you've been told that work is a curse and labor a misfortune. But I say to you that when you work, you fulfill a part of earth's furthest dream, assigned to you when that dream was born. And in keeping yourself with labor, you are in truth loving life. And to love life through labor is to be intimate with life's inmost secret. But if you in your pain call birth an affliction and the support of the flesh a curse written upon your brow, then I answer that not but the sweat of your brow shall wash away that which is written. So like kind of a different definition of work than I think of.
Yeah, I think that sort of calls to mind like, you're chopping logs or something.
Yeah, exactly. A very agrarian sort of work.
Yeah.
Which, that's not the way I think about the term work anymore, but also I don't know what word is being translated as work you know, from the original
see.
Arabic. So
Yeah.
I can't tell that either. The last part here, I'll just read the end of it. Work is love made visible. And if you cannot work with love, but only with distaste, it is better that you should leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms of those who work with joy. For if you bake bread with indifference, you bake a bitter bread that feeds but half of man's hunger. And if you grudge the crushing of the grapes, your grudge distills a poison in the wine. And if you sing though as angels and love not the singing, you muffle man's ears to the voices of the day and the voices of the night. So
that's interesting. So I mean, it's basically saying that the problem I have with it is that it's putting the blame on the person, you know.
yes,
Of
totally.
like, you know, just like make yourself love something.
Right.
Otherwise, you're worthless. Which, yeah, I don't really agree with that.
Yeah, and otherwise, the best you deserve is to take from the people who work hard.
Yeah.
Right. So occasionally, in parts, it feels a little bit judgy, but I think like, you know, the stuff about children and like child raising, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like, you know, he describes parenting as you are the bow and you are releasing an arrow. So you're not creating another bow, but you're releasing an arrow to hit your mark.
Yeah.
Like you have a goal with your child, but you're not trying to make your child into you. You can't make another bow.
Interesting. Huh.
You can take it. You can send it somewhere better, and how it travels into the future to a place that you can't reach on your own. So you can't judge your kids for not being like you because they get to live beyond you. That kind of thing.
Wow. That's
So,
interesting.
yeah, thought provoking.
Yeah.
Read me a little of your cities that are invisible.
Yeah, I was struck. There's one particular city that sounds just like what it's like to live in New York. So I wanted to share that. I have to go get the book. I'll be right back.
Okay. Hey guys, it's ChatzNightz. I love it when ChatzNightz feels like I'm not recording anything, and if I didn't have Audacity open in the corner, I would forget right now. But we hope you're enjoying this nights. People keep voting for Vibe Nights, so we're gonna keep doing them. You know, that's my thought. Maybe I'll bring this up to Michelle when he comes back. But we were talking about like short podcasts last night and how we're like on the longer side of pods, but you know, when we like are joined like guests, we like guests on other people's podcasts and they're all really short. We're like, should we do shorter pods? And when I said that, Magellan was like, if we did 30-minute chats episodes, I would say we should do 5 a week. It's like, okay, never mind. Because we just have so much to say. I'm a chatty Cathy. I spend all day like listening to other people or whatever, so it's nice to talk. Here he comes. I can hear him.
It's interesting to think that a lot of hobbies that people take up that are sort of like the secret hobbies that you were talking about before, are like very kind of, you know, physical work hobbies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like someone's like, I'm really into axe throwing or like log chopping or
or like baking bread from the yeast or whatever.
Yeah. I'm gonna bake brownies this weekend if you want some from scratch.
I'd love some. From how far from scratch? All the way from scratch?
We're talking flour and sugar, baby. Yeah.
Fuck, babe.
The last couple times I've baked, it's been with mixes and like other people, and I'm like, no, this is gonna be like me. My mom will be there, but for adult supervision. No, because it's her kitchen. But yeah, I'm just gonna solo make some peanut butter chewy brownies, and it's gonna be amazing.
Wow.
I'll let you know how they turn out.
That's great.
Maybe I'll post them to the socials or something if they come out good.
It's gonna take me a second to find the exact one.
Sure. I was talking to the audience about short podcasts and how you were saying like if we did 30-minute chats episodes, we would do 5 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was funny because then I was like, we have a lot to say. Like both of us have jobs where we spend a lot of time talking and also listening.
Mm-hmm.
But like we talked in the last night's episode, there's like a whole self that doesn't exist in your day-to-day that people don't see, that like just exists in your head. And sometimes it's nice to kind of regurgitate, like get a little bit of that out, you know, like your hobbies and your wants and your needs, and you can't talk about that at work. So it's like, I want to.
Yeah, I feel like I don't really. I feel sometimes the most honest when we're able to just sort of sit and talk, you know.
Exactly.
As opposed to, like, I can sort of put on a face and have fun at work, but I can't like opine.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Sometimes I feel like maybe that's sort of a egocentric thing, but sometimes it's like, I don't know. People listen to it. And we like.
I was saying, people keep voting on the night. They're gonna keep voting for 5 nights. We're gonna keep doing them.
Yeah. What's the one? These are all so good. You really got to read this book.
Invisible City.
People were giving I was having a sort of semi-heated conversation today about Lovecraft Country because people are getting frustrated that show doesn't feel serialized enough, basically. Which, we talk about that a lot on the podcast.
Right.
Like the difference between serialized and episodic stuff. Yeah. And the book it's based on is a bunch of interconnected stories that like have a continuity, but they're separate stories.
Yeah.
So when you watch them in the show, if you don't know that, then you're like, this feels like I'm watching an edited version of a longer series. It literally, like, episode 2 feels like it just takes place at a different time. And you're like, wait, why are we here? Like, what is this plot line about? And then episode 3 is a whole new thing. And it's like, So I think it's actually bounced a lot of people off of the show because they're like, oh, people are talking about it like it's Game of Thrones or like some other HBO drama. And I want to get caught up and talk about the new plot and like guess what's going to happen next. But it's just not that kind of show. It's like more exploratory and like individual stories being told.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm really digging. And like I said, it does have a like long-term plot. I think that's ultimately, I hope, the direction that more TV is going these days is the blend of like, you can enjoy this story on its own and like have thoughts about it, but it's going to like tie, because that's like why Lost is good ultimately.
Yeah, it seems like we just, as a TV consuming public, have kind of moved away from wanting to digest shows like that. You know, like there's no patience in how we watch shows, and something like that really, I think, benefits from like, you only get one this week. Okay. So
enjoy it.
Chill out. Just chew on it.
Think about it. Write about it. Read about it. Yeah. Like I actually am guilty myself. I binged Agretsuko season 3 this past weekend because it just came out.
Oh,
and they are getting more and more serialized every season now.
Yeah.
It's already a pretty serialized show for people who don't remember. It's like a Netflix show based on a Sanrio property. It's an anime about a young girl who in her mid-20s is working in an office and hates her job and vents her frustrations by doing karaoke, like heavy metal music at karaoke. And it's like her love life and her work life, and like season 3 overall has this umbrella theme of like capitalism and how difficult it is to like live beyond your work and like do things that aren't related to your work. And so it has this whole thing, but it's 10 episodes, each one's 15 minutes. So it's like, well, this actually feels like one long piece. Why would I stop watching this if these are all part of the same story, as opposed to each one being its own little thing?
I see. Yeah.
They don't feel that self-contained.
I was actually thinking about this, like, I found the one, by the way, but after we talk about this, I'll read it. Sure. I was thinking about this sort of like, you know, what are we kind of geared to consume in Western media versus not? Because although maybe now I'm about to describe this show and it might actually seem lost, like, I watched a couple episodes of Durarara for Oops All Anime, which is the Scanline Media Patreon bonus show about anime. And Durarara is it's like a pretty slow burn where you think it's like normal people, but then wild supernatural stuff is going on. And every episode it switches the point of view character in a way that's like really jarring and hard to follow. Okay. And I was kind of thinking about like, if a show, I can't think of a Western show that like would do that, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Game of Thrones, the books do that. Each chapter is from a different POV. Like fantasy does that a lot in novels.
Yeah, but the show wouldn't have a whole episode.
It just jumps. Person. It just says this scene is about this person. This scene is about this person.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I think also just anime in general is more geared. Like how many times have you heard about a long anime and someone's like, the first arc is boring, but you have to watch it, and then the real story starts, and it's like that's not how I watch shows.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, I found this chapter from Invisible Cities by Italo Calvino. This one, when I read it, I was like, whoa, that's what living in New York feels like.
Oh.
Okay. Cities and Eyes 4. When you arrived at Phyllis, you rejoice. All the cities are named after women. That's the thing. And they're all imaginary. When you arrived at Phyllis, you rejoice in observing all the bridges over the canals, each different from the others, cambered, covered, on pillars, on barges, suspended with tracery balustrades. And what a variety of windows looks down on the streets, mullioned, Moorish, lancet, pointed, surmounted by lunettes or stained glass roses. How many kinds of pavement cover the ground, cobbles, slabs, gravel, blue and white tiles. At every point the city offers surprises to your view. A caper bush jutting from the fortress's walls, the statues of 3 queens on corbels, an onion dome with 3 smaller onions threaded on the spire. Happy the man who has Phyllis before his eyes each day, and who never ceases seeing the things it contains, you cry, with regret at having to leave the city when you can barely graze it with your glance. But it so happens that, instead, you must stay in Phyllis and spend the rest of your days there. Soon the city fades before your eyes. The rose windows are expunged, the statues on the corbels, the domes. Like all of Phyllis's inhabitants, you follow zigzag lines from one street to another. You distinguish the patches of sunlight from the patches of shade, a door here, a stairway there, a bench where you can put down your basket, a hole where your foot stumbles if you're not very careful. All the rest of the city is invisible. Phyllis is a space in which roots are drawn between points suspended in the void. The shortest way to reach that certain merchant's tent, avoiding that certain creditor's window. Your footsteps follow not what is outside the eyes, but what is within, buried, erased. If of 2 arcades one continues to seem more joyous, it is because 30 years ago a girl went by there, with broad embroidered sleeves, or else it is only because that arcade catches the light at a certain hour like that other arcade, you cannot recall where. Millions of eyes look up at windows, bridges, capers, and they might be scanning a blank page. Many are the cities like Phyllis, which elude the gaze of all, except the man who catches them by surprise.
Ooh.
So it's like, I don't know, it's about kind of living in a really beautiful, wonderful place and then kind of forgetting that. Just like
Right.
living in your ruts and in your
Losing that
nostalgia.
magic.
And losing the magic, yeah.
I was just double checking something in thinking about that. My current job and my previous job, which both were in the city, are down the street from each other. And when I was stationed at a different place because of the beginning of quarantine, they had me like working somewhere else. I was like a couple minutes away from it, and it's really fascinating how much I've developed like a sort of space memory around the city now.
Yeah.
Like every time I go for a walk, it feels like it's getting smaller because I keep turning and going, wait, I've been here from the opposite end like 6 years ago and like it just, it is sort of a mournful feeling. I think that poem kind of captures it, where it's like, no, like the magic of a city is that it feels infinite, especially somewhere like New York where there's all these boroughs, and even when you feel like you spent 100 years in one, it's like, well, there's still like 6 more. But Boston's a lot smaller, man. And like, I remember I told you either last year or earlier this year, I was like at the Science Museum with a friend, and I walked by part of like one of the places I used to go at my last job, and I like started crying because I was like, I didn't leave that job on great terms.
Yeah.
And I just felt so like attached to that space, even though I was there for such a short time. It's like, I went here. This was my commute to go here. Like I thought I had something here, and now it's just a place I walk by. And none of these like bagel shops are going to be my bagel shop anymore because I don't go here anymore. You know, it's like mourning a space, so to speak.
Right.
Crazy, crazy stuff. That's I think about spaces and stuff a lot. That's why I'm sure I would really like this book, because like with video games, my favorite thing is always the settings and like the maps that you're in, or just the room and the environment that you're in.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, traveling spaces is something I find really entertaining and interesting.
I feel like I've read this poem. I just pulled up a poem that made me think of this exact feeling, but I feel like I've read it on Nights before, and I'm not sure.
Can you tell me what it's called?
It's called This Room by John Ashbery.
You have read this one before.
On the podcast?
Yes.
Okay. I won't read it again then.
It's a classic, though.
But it is that same feeling of like being in a space, and it's sort of like you remember it and have a connection to it, but it's like, but that thing doesn't exist anymore. So, like,
Right.
is it real? Yeah.
And sometimes distance from a space transforms it. Like that's the hard thing about. I'm sorry to bring it back, but it's kind of the hard thing about being quarantined at your apartment is you can't miss your apartment when you're there every minute of every day.
Right. Yeah.
If you left for like a week or a month, you'd come back and be like, oh my God, like that's the thing I want. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, as they say, right?
Well, and I imagine it's going to be an especially heart-wrenching experience to finally be out and about again and to sort of, directly confront the spaces that, like we were saying, I sort of took for granted before and would move through in the way that this poem that Phyllis describes, right? Where like the only thing that you're noticing is the part of the sidewalk that you trip on in your daily rut. And so
Ned Ryerson.
and so encountering those spaces again, I think it's going to be a really mournful feeling of like, oh my God, not only did I lose all this time with this space, but there was also so much time when I had it and I like wasn't looking at it,
Yeah.
Like I got really messed up. Not that bad. I guess I'm over exaggerating, but I was really struck the other day. I was walking back from the grocery store and I walked by this phone booth on the side of the road, but it wasn't a phone booth anymore. There was like, someone had built like nests into it. There was like wireframe and like bird's nests or something.
Oh.
And that's just at the corner right by my apartment. And I've been living in this apartment now. This is the third year that I've been living here. And I'd never registered that that's what that was before. Like I'd never looked at it closely enough to be like, oh my God, that's what that is. And I'm pretty sure it's been here the whole time.
Yeah. It's just been there.
Yeah.
It was just existing.
And so that's what I'm sort of anticipating. Once things are as normalish as they're going to be, having that feeling constantly of like, oh my God, this was here the whole time and I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, oh my God, I can talk to the Dunkin' Donuts employee and like make eye contact.
Uh-huh.
I think I had a rude customer interaction today. Not customer with me, but like I went to Starbucks in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. And you were the rude customer?
No, I think some other customer was rude to me.
How so?
I was like waiting in the back for a while. I didn't order on the app because I kept deleting the app to stop myself from ordering too much coffee. So I went in and I was like, oh, I'll just pay cash or whatever. But I have to wait in line. And there were two people in front of me, and both of them were waiting for their online orders. And so I waited for like 2-3 minutes before the one was like, are you ordering something? And I told her, and I'm 99% sure one of the guys was like mumbling under his breath, like, why didn't you just go? And I was like, you're wearing a mask, so I can't tell, and I can't get mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
But I made eye contact with him and had that moment where it was like, kind of like, you like step up to me. Like, what? And I'm like, wait, I don't even know if you said it. Was this even real? Like, I don't know what being mad at someone in a public environment is like anymore. How do I respond to that?
Right.
I also don't even know if I heard you right.
Jesus.
Super weird. Super, super weird.
That sucks. Like, why even throw that at you? That doesn't make any sense. Oh man. I the other day was thinking about the woman who had started to recognize me at the Dunkin' Donuts near my work.
Ooh.
And like how nice of a person she is and like got everybody their stuff, and I was like, oh, you're the online order guy. And then I thought about it and it's like, I haven't picked up an online order from that Dunkin' Donuts since March. And it's like, what if she
might
doesn't
not be
have a job anymore?
She might. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts is doing not fine, but they're doing.
But that I was like, oh man.
When you go back again, that might be an amazing reunion moment.
Well, but I'll have the mask on, and it's been so long. Who even knows? But I'll know. I'll know that it's still her.
I'll know, damn it.
Yeah.
Those precious human interactions that you never forget. Tell me more. Tell me more of your like little interactions with strangers. It's the best thing about living in New York, to my opinion.
What do you want to know? What do you mean?
Like, do you have any other like people who recognized you that you became a regular at? Like, I know you love the like bodega person calling you boss. That's a classic.
Oh, that was at my old school though, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
There was the cafe around the corner from my current school where I said my name was Jeff so many times that they just started calling me Jeff, and like it's like, oh hey, it's Jeff, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's me.
I've become Jeff.
But they probably don't remember my name at this point either. But they didn't.
You gotta make your claim
in the first place, I guess.
You gotta be memorable.
I do. The person at the laundromat, I like do drop off laundry, and the person at the laundromat knows that my name is Jeffrey now.
Oh.
And I've dropped laundry off there like maybe 4 times.
Wow.
I think it's because I go with this like turquoise, completely disheveled duffel bag, and so when they see the bag, they're like, "Oh, it's this guy.
It's this Jeff."
Yeah.
Of all the Jeffs I know in my life, this one is the most Jeff.
That was good.
Thank you. To all the Jeffs I've known before, something. Do you know they closed the public garden? Like they got rid of the water
in Boston Common.
No, the public garden's across the street from Boston Common. Actually, they're not the same.
Okay,
the Common is a park.
The one next to the Common.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw a woman peeing in the Boston Common recently, which is I consider a good moment. But she was taking a leak, and then I went to the public garden, and the water's gone. They took it out.
So that people
water.
wouldn't congregate there?
No, people are still congregating there, not in large groups. It's like fine, but apparently there was like red algae and like some bacteria in the water, so they drained it, and they're like, we're gonna clean the water and put the water back at a later date.
Oh, they like have it in buckets somewhere or something.
I that's how I understand, or like a truck, probably several trucks.
That's dorky.
But now it's just this like really smelly pile of like piled up dirt.
Oh.
And it's like the most beautiful thing about the public garden is that it surrounds this like big water.
Yeah.
And there's a bridge that goes over the water, and there's all these racist statues. Yeah.
Yeah.
We recorded an unreleased podcast there one time. Or no, it's like an adulthood segment.
Yes, I think that's correct.
That bench is one of my favorite places to read.
Yeah?
So yeah, take that, liberals.
Yeah. Stupid liberals.
It was also our state election today. Speaking of liberals and Democrats.
Yeah. How'd Kennedy do?
I don't know yet. I live in a liberal bubble, so everyone was like, if you don't vote for Ed Markey, then you're a cop. But we'll see. I hope that works out. I'm putting my claim on it. Ed Markey deserves to be the senator for Massachusetts. We don't need another Kennedy. But yeah, the truth is that most Bostonians don't actually like the Kennedys that much, but they keep getting voted in by people who are like, wait, kind of like his ad. I get his ad on Hulu so freaking often.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I have it in my family blood, and then it's like flashes of all the Kennedys from JFK onwards.
That sucks.
I'm like,
oh, that sucks. That's the only thing that he's got.
That's really it. And it's like he cares for people, and he's there when they need it. And it's like, none of this isn't policy. You're not. Ed Markey co-wrote the Green New Deal. Come on.
Yeah, that sucks.
State elections are super important, folks. I don't know when other people in other states' elections are, but it's a really important and useful way to make sure that the right voice for your state is heard in Congress, which is very important. And also a lot of those positions that you're like, what do they do, are going to affect you and like have ripples in your day-to-day life in ways you're not thinking about.
Yeah, definitely.
So like register of probate. What if you want to get a divorce someday? What if you have like legal paperwork and you're like, this office like is so discriminatory, or they're making it so hard for me? It's because they voted in a bad person.
Yeah, or what if
that
you
could have voted
probate?
against? Huh?
What if you want to register a probate?
Well, you're gonna have to make sure that the person running who is the register of probate is good.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I just think you didn't mention probates, and those are pretty important.
What's a probate? What is a probate?
Well,
you just really vividly reminded me of an old friend of ours. Who we don't talk to as much anymore, just because I think he moved very far. But when you would like, you'd be like riffing with him, and then you'd ask him just a really like a lowball question like that, but because he doesn't have an answer, he'd go, and you're like, okay, we're done. This bit is over because you run out of like gas.
I think I know who
tell.
you're talking about. What letter does their name start with?
D.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
On the same page.
Derek from accounting.
Probate, of course, is the official proving of a will.
Oh, but it's not just that. That's the register of probate's not just for that.
Well,
it's like the whole.
Probate is the term for a legal process in which a will is reviewed to determine whether it is valid and authentic. Probate also refers to the general administering of a deceased person's will or the estate of a deceased person without a will. So it seems like probate is just that.
Prevents malfeasance by executors and administrators of estate. Equitable distribution of the assets of people who die. It's an important position.
Yeah.
What does prorate mean?
That's when you do it before you rate it before.
Really?
I don't know. I just know that I think I've had money prorated or something.
Allocate, distribute, or assess. So it means to prorate something. To divide, distribute, or assess proportionately.
Doesn't it mean like ahead of time though?
Yeah.
This is going to be prorated.
Prorated rent, what is it and when to ask for it? When searching for an apartment, you've asked for a rental rate that seemed fair, but what if you move in on the 15th or the 25th? You may not owe for a full month. Portion of the rate that matches whatever portion of the month you're living. Oh, so if you have like a week, you pay for a week instead of...
Yeah, it's prorated. It's prorated.
Oh, that makes sense.
Prorated.
It's no longer a word. We said it too many times.
Prorated.
I saw a tweet.
Okay.
ChatzNightz jingle. I saw a tweet that was talking about how much somebody missed. I'm sorry. I hit quarantine talk again.
Come on. No.
No. It's gone out.
We
I'll
already
stop.
did it twice.
Twice.
Fine. Can you do it in 30 seconds?
Person was talking about going to conventions, how they missed anime cons, and they were like doing like that hyper specific nostalgia for something I haven't heard of, and it made me want to get into cosplay, even though I know I wouldn't. I probably won't do it.
Give me your top 5 cosplays that you would do.
Okay, number 1, Bulma from Dragon Ball Z.
Great.
Number 2, what's the best anime ever?
Probably the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, I'd say.
Yeah, the glasses kid from Sailor Moon.
Okay.
Umino, I think is his name.
Okay.
That's just a really easy one. Hiro Yui from Gundam Wing, because I could just wear a green sleeveless t-shirt and shorts, and I'd be good.
Yep.
And then Kirby.
Okay. That sounds like 3. Did you do 5?
Did you ask for 5?
Mm-hmm.
That was 4 if you include Kirby.
Okay. What's your 5th?
Grookey.
Grookey.
Grookey from Pokemon.
Okay. You want to hear my 5?
Yes.
Londo Malari.
Yes.
No, wait, no. Am I Jakar? Who's Jakar?
You're Jakar. I'm Londo.
Okay, Jakar.
Wait. Yes. Like physically, like for the sake of cosplay, yes, you're definitely Jakar.
Is that how we did it?
Yeah. But personality-wise, you're Londo. You two have destroyed your country. It's fine.
Okay, Jakar.
Eating avocado toast.
Then Dr. House.
Yes.
That'd be fun and easy to do.
Stephen Page.
Stephen Page.
Again, really just different glasses.
Penn from Penn and Teller before he lost the weight.
Ooh, with the ponytail?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's 4.
Give me an animated character.
Oh, hold on. I can figure this out. Okay. Who's someone that I could already kind of do?
Wow.
The Steins Gate guy, the main guy.
Okabe?
Yeah.
Rintaro Okabe.
Why not?
That's so easy. I literally have lab coats. I could just do that one for you. And then you just slick your hair back.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do one where I'd have to like make a costume or something, because every time I've ever made like a crafts project, it's always looked wrong.
Well, this is what I was thinking about. You have all the time in the world right now to, not you specifically, I know you don't, but like people who are like, I wish I could cosplay in public. It's like, well, now get good at sewing. Now is the time to improve your craft.
Yeah, but the amount of work that I would have to put into that to get good at that, I would rather put into something else.
Sure. I'm not suggesting that you do that. I'm just for aspiring cosplayers out there who are discouraged by the fact that they can't display their stuff much. A, Patreon and stuff exist, and B, get good at making your costume. Practice. I found out recently that sleeping is good.
Me too.
What?
Same. Yeah.
No, I was like, wait, if I sleep more than 7 hours, that like feels good and my brain does good things.
Mm.
What?
Yeah.
Seems fake, but the jury's out. I asked them to come back, and they were like, "We're all sleeping."
We're taking a big nap.
Big sleep.
Don't wake us up.
that voice-
we all say guilty.
Guilty. it's it's not a guilty, not guilty. No, we say guilty.
Guilty.
Is that voice from anything?
I don't know. I think that's just a voice you do, isn't it?
Yeah. One time we were talking to Jim recently, and he was like, "That's such an Alan thing." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You did the voice," and I'm like, "Is the voice just me?" Like,
I don't think it's from anything.
quit it.
I don't know.
It
just
makes you
sort of
giggle. That's why I
happened.
like doing it. Anything that makes you giggle is good.
Yeah, it just sort of happened. I mean, I think it started as like you doing like an Arabic voice or something.
Sure. Yeah.
And then it sort of morphed into this like whenever we do the voice, I picture it as a sort of like it's a fantastical animated thing where the best friend is like a giant monster but who's really soft.
Oh.
You know, and so he's like, "Quit it." He's like,
You like tickle his toes, and he's like, "No, stop it."
yeah, he's just like a big monster.
The jury rules. Guilty. I sleep.
Sleeping time for sleep, like an Appa type thing, but not quite.
Appa, yip yip.
Yeah, not quite Appa, but in that.
Are we gonna
same
get you
genre.
into Korra now that it's on Netflix?
Do you want to chat it?
No, I just want to watch it with my friends.
Is it worth chatting?
Maybe. It's pretty short. 3 seasons.
How many episodes? Pilot chats for Korra. That's what's happening right now.
It's being chats right now because we're on chats.
I was gonna say we should pilot it, but we did.
We did.
When we did Chatspender.
We literally did.
Literally.
Or as my mom says it. Shout outs to Mama Ibrahim. Literally. She says
How many
literally.
episodes? This is Korra.
I'm looking right now.
Okay.
You slime.
Thank you. Good.
4 seasons.
4 seasons. Oof.
Yeah, like the hotel.
Like the Vivaldi.
52 episodes.
No. Quit it.
All right, well then we'll just watch it because you're gonna be a big baby about it and complain all the time.
We could do a very I have a chat's proposal, and if you don't want to go with it, I'll just delete this part from the episode.
Okay.
I've been listening to some old Pilot Chats episodes, and I was reminded of the fact that Pilot Chats existing was an unlock at $50 a month on the Patreon.
Yes.
So what if this new episode concept that we've been batting around,
Mm-hmm.
what if it's not possible for those to exist until we hit $100? You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, Donald.
Well, what do you think?
Oh shit! I have to answer.
Yeah, I'm proposing it to you. What do you think? Or we could just,
there's
or
a
we could
scene
just
in,
do them.
the Red Dwarf episode that I just watched, where Kat, who is like the character I feel like I've started to relate to the most, is like they're asking him like how many jumps or whatever are there in this thing, and he's like 100. They're like, oh, we just jumped 102 times, and he's like, we just jumped 101 times, and they're like, wait, how did you get 101? He's like, I just wanted to pretend I was listening. I wanted to sound like I was listening. Ask me again the question.
So
Okay.
when we hit $50 a month on the Patreon,
Yes.
we said we're going to start doing these episodes called Pilot Chats, right?
Yes, we did. That's true.
Since then, we now are, only doing 3 things a month as opposed to our old schedule. Yeah. But we've been batting around this idea of creating a new option on the polls for a new type of episode.
Okay.
And you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do.
Okay. So what if we officially say, here's a type of episode we're thinking of doing. We'll start doing them or offering them on the polls once we hit $100 a month on the Patreon.
Now that's a good idea.
Okay. So can I officially announce that right now?
Yes.
Okay. So, hey everybody. Alan and I have been talking since we made our pledge to watch all of Harvey Birdman and do stuff with it. We realized that that's a thing. That's like a type of episode that we could do on Patreon here. And we're going to be calling that ChatzNightz. Like highlights and like ChatzNightz. ChatzNightz. Pretty
It's not
cute.
going to be bad for SEO at all. It's
We're not.
It's actually not. It's Patreon. I'm just being silly.
Yeah. And the idea behind ChatzNightz is we would watch a show, and then just however long that takes us, maybe a month or two or whatever, and then we, depending on the show, and then we would sit together for a ChatzNightz episode, and we'd run down basically our favorite episodes, our overall thoughts on the show, for the kinds of shows that like we want to watch, but we don't want to
dig into every single episode
on the main feed. Yeah. So it's kind of, it is like a binging thing, which is kind of against our vibe.
But we're not setting a time limit. This could take a year.
True. True.
Not Harvey Birdman. Harvey Birdman won't take a year. Also, worth mentioning, by the way, it's on. It just hit HBO Max this week.
Yeah. So that's the idea, and I could see us doing it for Harvey Birdman. I could see us doing it for Red Dwarf. I could see us doing it for Korra.
Yeah. Just that we're gonna watch this and then talk about it.
Yeah. So let's say that. Let's say that once the Patreon hits $100 a month, we will start to do ChatzNightz episodes. So get people listening to the podcast, get people on the Patreon if that's something you're interested in.
I'm not going to tell anybody to like up their pledge because we feel weird about people hitting above 5.
Don't
but
up your pledge.
I'm looking for new pledges.
We're not that far away. We're at like $83. So
this is a small push.
Yeah, that's how many people. If it's people coming in at $3 a month, that's a what, like $17 gap from 100?
6 people.
Yeah, 6 people, 6 new people. Maybe some of them are 5s, so it's like, a handful between 3 to 6, or you can't cover it with 3, between 4 to 6 people.
Yeah.
Easy. Come on.
That's a single family.
Yeah, get a family. Tell them they can't share.
No sharing.
Don't share a Patreon account.
No.
Don't do it. Don't. Stop it. Quit it.
I'm tickling.
Stop it. You're tickling me. But yeah, and then I also think that the way that we could do ChatzNightz is, instead of it being part of it could be a part of our like 3 a month cadence. It could also just be like, hey, we're both just gonna watch Harvey Birdman, and whenever we're done, we'll do this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that we don't have to put a deadline for ourselves of like, oh my God, we got to watch the whole thing in a month. It's just like, okay, we'll both watch it, and then when we're both done, we'll do this episode about it.
Right. I'm into it.
I'm into it.
I'm into it.
Well, great.
Yeah, they put a bunch more Adult Swim stuff on HBO Max.
That's cute.
Including Harvey Birdman, Squidbillies. I think C Lab is on there now, which I'm also at least curious to watch because that's another one that's like using old footage. I think we shouldn't cover Space Ghost, but you should check out Space Ghost.
Yeah, I might like it. Sounds cute.
Stop calling things cute. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Space Ghost is an interview show. So if you like talk shows, you might like Space Ghost. It's very 90s. The format is just really weird, and it's kind of funny, but it's extremely not chatsable.
You're extremely not chatsable.
All right, John, I can tell that your brain is getting smooth, so please
My brain's not getting smooth. I was just doing some logistical messaging for our podcast.
Yeah.
You just received my logistical message. You were doing this logistical messaging earlier when I was speaking about poetry and, the deep meaning of it. And
not during the poetry. It was during the part where you were talking about some bullshit I don't care about.
Right, exactly. So, get off my case. My case.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it wouldn't be ChatzNightz if we didn't yell at each other, and now we're done.
And now we may. Can I turn my key to end the episode?
Yes, you can.
Turn my key. I just love the idea of turning your key. That's such a cool thing.
Yeah, I love keys.
Love keys.
Keys.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode of ChatzNightz. This has been a Vibecast that was voted on by you, the patrons. We love you all very much. We hope you're staying safe. Later this month, we should have, or we already had a pilot chat
this month.
This is the end of the month. Go vote on the poll, you slime balls.
Yeah, for Rocktober. We've got a really fun I think we agreed on this idea, the one we talked about yesterday.
I forget.
Okay, well, I'll cut this out too if you don't agree with it. Where we're gonna have Jim watch anime.
Oh, yes.
So I don't know what else we have on the poll right now because we haven't decided. But one thing for sure we want to do is our best friend of the pod, Jim, is not an anime watcher. Surprisingly, like what's his deal? So we definitely want to do a pilot chats in October where we get Jim to watch some anime. So they'll be voting for the other categories, but then for that episode, get in the comments and give us suggestions of what shows you think are good to like hook someone who is like, I don't know, anime's not really for me. What? They get big teardrops when they're nervous? I don't think so. That's literally his problem with it.
Yeah. How dare he? We're gonna fix him up real good, folks.
Yeah, we are.
But yeah, it should be very exciting. Now, Megan, can I conclude by reading to you an Instagram post?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna trust you on this one and go with you on this journey.
This is a post from somebody whose name is Sindhu, Sindhu. Okay. I don't know what their username is, but here's the caption. It's a photo of a man holding, or I think it's a tall boy at like a 7-Eleven and holding it towards the camera, like, "Hey, take this drink." And here's the caption. I'm gonna try and do this in one breath.
Okay.
It's basically 2 sentences.
Okay.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Enjoy yourselves, grab some beer. I don't drink alcohol, and I think it is very bad for people, especially most of my customers that walk in and look very ill and buy it in the mornings. Those people who have serious problems and will probably die soon. But you should enjoy maybe 1 beer. I'm not sure, but anyway, it can't be that bad to have just 1 beer. I see some people are fine and drink alcohol occasionally, and it seems fine. Yes, maybe just have a single can of beer today or another day. It doesn't matter which day, but it should probably be only for 1 day or maybe 2 days per week. Sindhu.
It's on the level of Khalil Gibran and Italo Calvino. It's a great work of prose poetry.
He's amongst the greats. Yeah. Thank you, Sindhu. And thank you for listening to ChatzNightz. Good night.